Hello, everyone. How are you? Good evening. Let's start with our class. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening, teacher.
Good evening. Okay, so for homework, you have to check the video that I sent. Right, we have to talk about it. So tell me, did you watch the video? We're going to talk about it. It had some interesting concepts and ideas that can help you study. Okay, so could you comment anything about the video?
Yes, something that I heard. Probably you faces some problems, and she said, focus, relax, and Pomodoro technique is like turns out and do something fun. Okay, change brain or mind.
Okay, thank you. What else did you learn in the video? Maybe something new that you didn't know?
Well,
Something
I understood that it is not necessary to memorize the things that when you are studying. Well, in my case, I think the Pomodoro technique is real good because sometimes when you are under stress and when you are studying because an exam or something like this, and for example, in my case, I was trying to memorize everything. But now, after I watch the video, I can understand that it's good that after you study, try to do something fun to be relaxed. So I think it's good.
Very well. Excellent. Something else?
I am a person who procrastinates a lot. So I like this video because I catch some ideas and some new habits. Yes, the Pomodoro, in fact, in my work, my boss gave us a course about some techniques. And yes, I am still a person who procrastinated, but I apply every day this technique. So I like it.
Good. Excellent. So I'm glad you checked this topic before because these tips, they are not only for English or for this course, they can help you for anything. Actually, she has a course, she has like a whole workshop that is called Learn How to Learn. And that's very interesting because we always learn many things at school. We will always learn many things in courses or in other kinds of education. But I think that sometimes we could call it like program in a way that we don't question if we are learning in the correct way. So that's why she did this workshop, that this video was summarizing like the points of that workshop. That workshop, you can take it on the internet. It takes like about 2 weeks. No, I think like 1 week. Don't remember very well, but she shows you all these techniques. So that's the idea. We need to learn sometimes how to learn to be sure that we are learning, that we're being effective, right? In this workshop, for example, she discusses some illusions of learning. Sometimes we, as your partner, as Guadalupe said, it's very common that we want to memorize everything. We want to be like, I don't know, but we take the book and we want to have everything in our memory, maybe word by word, definition by definition. And sometimes we can happen to have something that is burnout. Burnout is something that happens when you are very tired. Maybe you're having activities all day. You're doing many things like, I don't know, so spending time with people, etc. So you feel burnout. Burnout is like, I can do more. So the thing is that, yeah, it's something real that your brain can be saturated. Sometimes with learning things, you can be saturated. This is not the only activity you do during the day. You are working, you maybe have, you're studying something else. So it's easy to feel the burnout, right? So yeah, she said, right, the difference between the focused mode of thinking, the diffuse mode of thinking. This can work, for example, during this class. It can be when you are studying by yourselves, but these are different techniques. So the focused mode, for example, the focused mode is like you are right now. I cannot see you, but I think that you're maybe paying total attention to me. Maybe you're focusing on what I say. So this is a focused mode, right? When you are paying attention. Now, it's natural that our attention wavers, right? We cannot keep the same concentration during a lot of time. Some people can do it, and you can say, no, I can keep my concentration for hours. But that's what I told you, right? You can burn out. So our brain sometimes tends to distract and goes like this, right? So sometimes goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. We focus, we disconnect, right? We are a little bit, maybe you are absent-minded, maybe you realize you are not paying attention, right? Maybe you're, I'm not paying attention. So after maybe 5 minutes, right, you realize you were not paying attention. But this is not necessarily bad, right? They say that when you are focused, you need to interchange with the diffuse mode of thinking. So something that we can try to do in this course is I can make you have activities. And in these activities, we can work like very intensively. But if you're working very intensively during the whole duration of a class, which is not a lot because it's 1 hour, but if you want to study during 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you will see that it's very difficult, right? So it's better if you study 20 minutes a day, but that you are doing it constantly, right? That's better than just taking the whole day studying. So that's something that can help you, okay? Very well, so that's the focus, diffuse mode of thinking. The diffuse mode of thinking, sometimes you can do something different, right? For example, maybe you're walking, you're having a walk, maybe you are just doing anything else not related to the topic, but your brain is still learning, right? So you need to give a chance, like those spaces. And that's what the Pomodoro technique helps you to, right? So that the Pomodoro is not only, I'm going to work for this time, but it's also, I'm going to rest for this time, okay? So you do it correctly, you're helping yourself because you're like, okay, I'm going to study, but then I'm going to rest. So I rest, then I start studying again, okay? Okay, very well. So did you find out in the video what was this what was the profession of this woman of the video? What was her profession? She has 2 professions that are very different.
Engineer.
Yeah,
She's
she was
an
an
engineer,
engineer.
a professor of engineering. But first, she was a translator.
A translator.
She learned Russian.
Russian,
She
yeah.
learned Russian.
Uh-huh.
So she said that for her, the mathematics were very difficult. She was very good with with languages. She was interested in culture, something like this, but numbers were not for her. And then she learned mathematics very well, and now she is like a master in these two things. And you know, I don't know why, but I've seen many examples. I mean, there are exceptions, right? Because there's always very smart people, but I don't know why, but I've always seen, and comparing now to some other people, I've seen that I had a lot of friends in school and people that I know that they were very good at math. I don't know if you are one of those people who are very good at math, like everything. They always had the best grades. They always finish their exercises at school first. Are you good in math? Do you consider yourselves good in math? Well, so these kind of friends have problems to learn English. And, you know, and I realized when I was in high school, because in high school, I think that the second year, you have the opportunity to skip the whole English. So I didn't take English from the second year. And so on in all the schools, university, I didn't take English because I already knew it. But for my friends, it was very difficult. And I remember that, I mean, I also had to study and I had to learn it, but I remember that for those partners, it was difficult to learn English. But for me, it was difficult to understand math. I mean, I understood, but I was slow for the exercises. So I needed more time to do the exercises because everything was so quick. And for me, languages was easy. Like I could learn also their languages. And I was wondering why this happened, but I'm not sure why this happens, but it's probably like very different abilities. So some people are very good, for example, with sports. I'm not good with sports. Some people are very good dancing, like the way they express with their body. This is something that is called the multiple intelligence theory. I don't know if you heard about multiple intelligence. So it says that we are all good people. We're all good at doing something, but differently from others. So for example, maybe you're good at math. Other person can be good at being more creative, like making art and so on, right? So I think that is when she shows you this, it shows you that it's not impossible. Even if you feel that English is sometimes difficult, you can learn it, right? You can like kind of manipulate that. Maybe we are not burned like this, right? Maybe I don't have the ability to speak English as easy as my partners. And that's something that you have to be careful when you compare yourselves. Because sometimes you see other people and you think that why can they speak better than me? But you should not compare yourselves, right, with other people. You should compare yourselves with yourselves, right? So if you're improving every day, and that's something beautiful about this explanation from the video. The last question: how to get mastery in certain topic? Well, you need, when you expose yourself to new things, when you expose yourself to knowledge, you always try to do something new. Okay, for example, if you are not good, you try to expand your limits, right? If you are not good at painting, okay, why you don't try painting? Maybe you find out that you can modify that thing. If you think that you are not good at, I don't know, any sports, why don't you try? So that's the thing of the video, right? Sometimes we think this is not for me, but when we try, and this is something real, right? It's called like the way you can it's called plasticity, right? Creo que en español es como la plasticidad del cerebro, como I'm not sure if it's how we say in Spanish, but basically you can make it, you can make your brain, we could say more effective to new knowledge, right? Which is always something good, because when this can help you also preventing from some diseases that some people have in their brains. When you're always learning something new, you prevent Alzheimer, you prevent many diseases. So, well, these were some useful techniques, right? We're going to try to use them. When you study at home, you know what to do. Okay, so let's see. We're going to continue. And remember that you have to study at least, I would say 20 minutes a day. Maybe you think, no, that's not enough time, right? But if you're constant, you will see that it's very, very good and very interesting. If you can do more, do more. If you cannot do 20 minutes, try to do 15 minutes or 10 minutes, but try to be constant. Okay, so in the previous classes, I think teacher Jessica, she was with you yesterday, and but I don't remember. So she explained to you adjectives, adverbs. I just want to would like to ask you, did you see determiners yesterday?
No, only now.
Did you see the explanation of determiners?
No, determiners, no.
No.
Not yet. Okay, so you only saw adjectives and adverbs.
Yes.
Okay, did you do the Kahoot?
Only adjectives.
No, teacher.
Okay,
No.
very well. Only adjectives, very well. So, all right, so she must have explained, right? Adjectives describe people. Okay, so adverbs, they don't describe things, but they describe how you do things or how other things do activities. For example, you could describe this toro, right? Even though it's this is weird because this is more like a tortoise. The way it looks is like a tortoise, como la forma de la tortuga es como tortuga de tierra, right? So it's a tortoise, but because he's in the sea, only turtles are in the sea, so I don't know. Turtle or tortoise? Let's leave it as turtle. The turtle is slow, very easy sentence. So the word slow is defining turtle, right? But if you say the turtle walks slowly, okay? So now you're using this word, but the function is different. You're not saying the turtle is slow, which you can think is true, but you're saying how the turtle walks. How? Slowly. So this word is affecting the verb. Okay, so adverbs describe verbs. Okay, adverbs describe verbs. It's something that generally, because also adverbs can describe adjectives. Okay, so I could say the same about the cheetah, right? The cheetah is fast. Okay, this is an adjective. The cheetah runs. Now, an adverb?
Fastly.
Fast. In this case, this is a fast. Fast is adjective and fast is adverb. Okay, but you can also say quickly. Okay, fast or quickly.
Okay.
The cheetah runs quickly. Okay, very well. So the adverbs describe verbs and describe adjectives too. Okay, we have different adverbs. So we have the adverbs, they can answer questions about the verb. Okay, I can tell you, for example, I study English. Okay, but you can give different information Okay, you can give different information about this, right? For example, I study English. So if the adverb answers how you do something, we call that an adverb of, this is called an adverb of manner, right? An adverb of manner. How you do something. Okay. So we could ask, how do you study English? I study English well. I study cheerfully. I study peacefully. Okay. This is how you do something. Okay. Now, if the adverb answers to the question where you do something, how do we call that adverb? That's an adverb of
Place.
Adverb of
Place. Location.
Very well, something similar, place. The adverb of place. So an adverb of place describes where you do something. Where do you study English? I study English abroad, en el extranjero. I study English, I don't know, downstairs. I study English far away. Okay, so these are the adverbs of place. They tell you where you do something. Okay, now if the adverb answers to the question when you do something, so that's an adverb of
Time.
Can you repeat the
Time.
question, please?
Time.
time. Exactly. If the adverb answers the question when you do something, that's an adverb of time. Now, the same verb, I study English. When do you study English? Okay, so the adverb of time answers when. I study English now. I studied English yesterday. I will study English tomorrow. Okay, so that's an adverb of time. Now, if the adverb answers to the question, how much you do something, with what intensity you do something, so that is called an adverb of
Quantity.
it
Quantity.
is called degree, an adverb of degree. Okay, so the adverbs of degree, they could be, for example, you could say, I study English extremely. I could say extremely hardly. And this is what I told you, these adverbs of degree, they usually describe adjectives. Okay, so you know, an adjective describes a noun. So an adverb describes an adjective. So you say, I study English extremely. No, sorry, not extremely hardly. I will explain that later. Extremely hard. Extremely hard. Or you can say, I study English very, you can use another adverb, very well. Okay, so the adverb of degree tells you how much or with what intensity you do something. Okay, well, that's the adverbs of degree. Any questions? Maybe you see any word here that you don't understand? No questions about these words?
No questions.
No?
No.
Okay, very well. So if you have questions, you remember it's better to ask. Then we have how often. If the adverb answers to the question, how often?
Frequency.
Very well, that's an adverb of frequency. Exactly. So how often do you study English? I study English I always study English. I never study English. I frequently study English. I study English often. Okay, very well. So this is about it. Those are the adverbs of frequency. Okay, very well. So do you have any questions so far? This is just how we classify the adverbs.
No questions.
No? Okay.
Nothing.
Very well. So those are the adverbs. Here you have more examples in your book. We're going to explain now the different part of speech. Okay, let's forget about adverbs for now. Now determiners. Okay, so determiners, you see here some very weird like people pointing at you, right? They point at you because determiners are words that are like this. They are like pointing at something, at a noun. Determiners, they, as you may think, like it's in the same name, it's determine. The function is to determine. But what do they determine, or what does it mean to determine? It means that I identify easier the noun you're talking about. So maybe you can say something random, the word cat. Okay, cat is the noun. But if I say a cat, okay, so this small word a a is an article, and this is a determiner, so it's not the same saying cat than a cat. Okay, and it's not the same saying the cat, and it's not the same as saying my cat or saying this cat, right? So those words are determiners because they help you to determine what noun you're talking about and make it differentiated and make it different from other nouns. Okay, so that's why we have, for example, the possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives are determiners. For example, you know the possessive adjectives, my, your, his, okay? So these determine what you're talking about. It's not the same saying cat than your cat. So this way you determine, you have more information about the noun. What are the articles? Well, the articles are just three: a, and, that. We only have three. Okay, we're going to explain this later because this is very important, and sometimes students make mistakes with the articles, even though there are only three. Okay, very well. Demonstrative adjectives. What are the demonstratives? Are these words: this, that, these, and those. Those are the demonstrative adjectives. Finally, here we have the quantifiers. Quantifiers are words like many, much. Can you think of more examples of quantifiers?
None. Little.
A little.
Some,
A few.
a few,
A lot of. Very well. Plenty. Excellent. Okay, so those are determiners too, the quantifiers. So this is a big group, right? And those are subcategories. But in the determiners, I would like to explain something that you may think, oh, but that's easy. But actually, there's something maybe you already know, but it's good to review it. How to use articles in English, right? So the articles are something that we could think, oh, it's very easy, it's very basic, but it can be confusing, especially because we learned Spanish as our mother tongue. So we speak Spanish and we use articles all the time. right? Why? Because Spanish has something that many other languages have it too. That is the gender, right? These are gender nouns. Gender nouns. So that means that everything, even if it's not a person or an animal, it can be feminine or masculine, right? For example, I could show you this, right? El vaso. El vaso is masculino, right? I could tell you, I don't know, la computadora is feminine, right? But this, as you know, in English, we don't have masculine and feminine for objects, for nouns, right? There are some things that are feminine or masculine, like woman, etc. But we don't use the article all the time. So that's why we don't have, we only have these three, okay? And we only have, we call that determined article and undetermined article. Okay, so the determined article is the. Undetermined article is a or an. Okay, so you already know the difference between a and an, right? Like an apple, a book. Okay, now there is another option in English because sometimes we don't need to use any article at all. For example, how will you say in English, la gente? I don't know. For example, how you say, la gente estudia inglés.
People study English.
How could we translate?
Only people. People
Only
study English.
people. Exactly. People study English.
Yep.
Exactly. Very well. So people study English and not the people study English, right? Because if you use they or that, that's determined article. So that means you're not talking about people, but some specific people, right? Okay, so we're going just to have an activity very quick to practice this article and not article use. Okay, let's work on some exercises. So you choose article or no article. Okay, this will be, I hope it will be easy. Okay, if not, don't worry. Sometimes we need to just to check some details. Okay, so please, can you, Cody, read number 1 and then we choose any of the options. You have no article, that, or you have a. Please choose the option. Okay, you can read the sentence.
Okay, number 1. We bought some cheese and ham. Cheese was delicious.
Okay, so do we leave
That-
it without the
The
article?
cheese was delicious.
The cheese was delicious. Very well. How do you know that we have to use the determined article?
I think that for logical.
Yeah, well, that's some things, right? If you ask a native person, hey, why don't you use that? They don't know the rules. They just write it, right? Well, it's good because sometimes we learn, we learn just it feels correct. It means that you learn something in like indirectly. And that's good, right? Sometimes you don't need to know the rules. Sometimes it just feels like something. But okay, here we have an explanation, right? There's always
Teacher,
an
maybe we
explanation.
have to analyze the sentences, right? Because I think that there isn't a specific rule.
Yes, that's correct. Sometimes there are no specific rules, but the context helps. So in this case, yes, we could say that there is a rule. because we need to use the article because that, remember that we call that determined article.
Yes.
So if you say cheese, the example is fun, but if you say cheese, it's not special. If you say the cheese, is special, right? So in this case, why do we use that? Because you already mentioned, these are some of the rules to use the determined article. When you already mention the noun, you need to use that, okay? So in this case, we bought some cheese. So here I have cheese. And here I have cheese again. But I'm determining the article with that because this cheese is the same as this cheese. It's not a different cheese. Okay. So I could say, for example, comer queso no sé, causa alergias. So I could say, in this case, eating cheese produces allergies. Okay. But if I say eating the cheese, does eating the cheese, you see, now it's a special cheese. Oh no, what cheese is that? Is it feta cheese? Is it manchego cheese? What kind of cheese are you talking about? So you're saying eating the cheese, maybe the cheese that we ate yesterday, right? So when you use a determined article, they remember that this noun is special. So in this case, that's why we use the article. Okay. Very well. Let's check the next one. Number 2, please, Guadalupe. Let's answer.
Okay, it's an interesting book.
Very well. It's an interesting book. Is it? We cannot say is the interesting book, or it's interesting book because we have an adjective before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even though you don't know what book I'm talking about, but I have an adjective so that
Yeah.
because precisely I don't know what I'm talking about, I use an undetermined article. Okay.
Yeah,
And
and well, in my case, I think that is an, of course, because the word starts with vowel, and because we were talking about a book that is countable. So, well, for me, that's a clue.
very good. Exactly. That's another good reason. Yes, because it's one book and not many, right? Okay. Let's see. Number 3, please, Rocio. Let's read it and we choose the option.
There was a document on the table.
Okay. There was a document. Why a document and not the document?
Mm, It's usual in Spanish, but maybe both.
Sorry?
Maybe both, but in Spanish it usually say estaba un documento en la mesa.
Very good.
But
Okay,
there was
what do you think?
is había.
Mhm.
So I think there was a document on the table.
Okay, yes. So what is the difference, right? You see, a document is like a random document. Remember, a is an undetermined article. So undetermined means I don't know. Determined means I know. Okay. So with you, if someone says there was a document on the table, so it can be anything. It can be the document from school, it can be a document from I don't know, from the lawyer, it can be anything, right? Now, if I tell you there was the document on the table, so that means that you and I know what document we are talking about. Hey, do you know where is the document? Okay, so the document, you have context previously. So if we previously mentioned, for example, I don't know, tax, I don't know, tax declaration. Okay, the tax declaration. And we have been talking about the tax declaration before, so I don't need to repeat the tax declaration because I know that we're talking about the document. Okay, so, but in this case, in this sentence, we don't have previous context, so that's why it can be a document, but you can say the if you already mentioned it. That's another rule to use. Remember, one of the rules was when we previously mentioned the noun, so we mention it again so that we don't confuse with another cheese, right? For example. Then in number 3, we say that we use the determined article if you and I know the noun we're talking about. Okay, that is known. Okay, but because we don't know, then we use an undetermined article that is a. Okay, very well. So let's check number 4, please, Ali.
Okay. Experts say that the coffee can be good for your health.
Sorry.
Can you
Experts
hear
that.
me? Okay, yes. Because the context talk about the coffee in general.
So the coffee.
The coffee.
Okay.
coffee.
So we have option. Experts say that the coffee. Experts say coffee, or expert says a coffee.
The coffee. The coffee.
The coffee. Okay. Well, in this case, it's without the article. Okay. Why? Why no article? Why do you think?
Because we have that.
Mhm.
Because we have that.
No, well, in this case, it's not that, because that here is not demonstrative. Aquí that no significa eso. Simplemente los expertos dicen que. Okay, but in Spanish I say el café, right? But how about this? We would say, experts say that coffee. Why do we use just not article? Because coffee is in general. All coffee. Instant coffee? Yes. Grounded coffee? Yes. Whole grain coffee? Nescafe? Legal? Okay, so all coffee works, right? So that's why you're not talking about a specific coffee. So if you use the coffee, it's a specific coffee. Experts say that the coffee in Venezuela. Other coffee, not good, but coffee in Venezuela. Or the coffee in, I don't know, the coffee in a cup of coffee. Or the coffee, I don't know, in the back. Okay, so when you use that, is specific. But in this case, we're saying that all coffee is good. So that's why we use no article, right? So remember the difference between, yeah.
For example, if you talk about the espresso coffee, the cappuccino coffee, ahí sí se utiliza el da, porque estás especificando un solo tipo.
Okay, if we have, for example, cappuccino, right? Experts say that I think we would still say it will be the same, no article, because you're saying all cappuccino coffee. But if you say the cappuccino coffee, would mean something special about that coffee. Maybe that is the coffee in my table. Okay, so in this case, we avoid to use articles when it's something very general. Okay, let's show another. I don't know, but that will be for the next one. Let's check some other examples and we can explain. Okay, Cody, please help us with number, number 5, please.
Fine. I don't have a car.
Very well. I don't have a car. In Spanish, we could even say, en español decimos, no tengo carro. Y no decimos, no tengo un carro. Right? Tengo dos. So in this case, in English, you say, I don't have a car. Right? It's necessary in this case to use the indefinite article. What happens if you use, I don't have the car? What is the meaning of that? Well, that's something very bad, right?
¿Por qué no lo estamos mencionando previamente?
But if someone says, I don't have the car, it means the car that you and I know. So if someone says, I don't have a car, oh, okay. Okay. I don't have the car means that they stole your car, right? Because we're talking about a car. We always say the car. Take the car, not take a car. Because when I say the car, it's something special about the car. In this case, that is mine. Okay. So we all say the car when we have a car. Okay. So if I say I don't have the car, it means that they stole the car from me. So I don't know. The car disappeared. My car. If I say I don't have a car, it means that simply I didn't buy a car. So I just walk or I take a bike. Okay. Let's check the next one. Please, Guadalupe, let's read number 6.
Number 6. I am a little bit confused because in this case, I don't know if in the case of the water applies the same situation of coffee.
Okay,
So
try. Give it a try. Don't worry.
I was thinking, can you pass me the water? But I'm not sure.
Okay, can you pass me water? Can you pass me a water?
No,
I
think
water.
I was thinking, can you pass me the water? But I am not sure because water is the same situation of coffee. No, I don't know. So
Very well.
It doesn't specific is a bottle of water or a glass of water. I don't know.
Very well. Well, in this case, it's correct to use the determined article. In the context of someone saying, can you pass me the water? So imagine, can be this context, but not necessarily, okay? But imagine that you're with your family at the table, and there is water on the table. There's maybe a jug, or maybe there's a glass of water, or a bottle of water. So you and I see the water.
Okay.
Okay, so we know what water we're talking about. So can you pass me the water? Maybe pointing at it. Says, can you pass me the water? Okay.
Okay.
So in this case, we use a determined article. You would use, for example, no article. If I tell you, okay, how will you say in English? Beber agua es bueno. How will you say that?
Drinking water is good.
Okay. Drinking water is good. How will you say el agua del Río de la Piedad?
In
this case, the water, right?
The water of
the water from the river, Mercy River.
The Mercy River.
Okay, so it's a different thing, right? You say the water because it's a specific water from this river. You say general, so you don't. In general, remember, generalizing, we don't use article. When it's something specific or something special about it, we use the article. Okay. Let's check another example, please, Rocio.
The president visit our school.
Very well. The president visited our school. Is it possible to use another article?
No.
Okay, very well. So let's see how it would be different, right? This is the correct option. What happens if we use A? So if you say a president visited our school, so it could be the president of China, Russia,
Mhm.
Argentina, right? Okay,
Other country, yeah.
other country, any president, the president of a company, right? When you say the president, it's something special about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, I am a teacher. When I introduce myself to other people and they ask me what I do for a living, so I say, I am a teacher. I cannot say I am the teacher because I am not the teacher of this person, right? So I say, I am a teacher, general. But for example, in this class, I am the only teacher, right? So I am the teacher because it's only one. So you say that when you refer to something that is unique, right? So usually in a country, there's only one head of the government, right? So there's only one president. So when you say the president, you know what president I'm talking about. It's logical. It's not because he's special, but it's because he's the only one. Okay.
Yeah.
Profe,
Okay.
in the case he isn't noun, you use a.
Excuse me.
If the president isn't known for you, do you use a president?
Okay. And if you use a president,
Yes.
so it would mean
Isn't known.
any president.
Yes.
Okay. Very well. So those are the uses. Very well. So you see, it was good to see some review of all the articles. All right. I can send you these exercises so you can complete them, and there are some others that you can do. Okay, we're going to check the prepositions. According to what you see in the picture, what do you think are prepositions? What do you think are the prepositions?
Under, between, inside, above, behind,
Mhm.
on.
Very good.
I think it's
And what do you think is the function?
it's a word that is used to link nouns.
Mhm.
So
Very
yeah, link other words.
Mhm. Okay, excellent. So preposition, yes, it gives you information about the noun, about where is the noun, also when, okay, like what time is the noun existing, okay? Very well. So we have the principle, and we also may need a review about the prepositions, right? We have prepositions of time and prepositions of place. Okay, so let's review just this like very quick. So if I want to say in English, en Navidad, how could I say that in English? En Navidad.
On Christmas. On Christmas.
On Christmas, exactly. On,
Yeah.
because specific date. Okay, how could I say en los 90s?
In 80s.
In the 90s, very good. Very good. How could we say, now talking about place, how could we say en Monterrey?
In
In Monterrey.
In Monterrey, very well. How could we say? En la escuela.
at school.
Okay.
At school. Excellent. How could we say? En Marte.
In Marta.
I would say on Mars.
On Mars.
On Mars. How could we say? En la playa.
On the beach.
On the beach.
At the beach or on the beach.
Mhm.
Very good. Excellent. Very well. So those are the prepositions. We check pronouns. Now we only have conjunctions. Okay, so what are the conjunctions? What do you think? And here we have a good picture so that you can think about it. Conjunctions. Conjunctions are, for example, these ones: and, but, or.
Are there connectors?
Very well. Yes, another synonym is connectors.
Okay.
Yes, very well. So what do you think is the function of the connectors?
Match ideas.
Okay, very well. Yes, the conjunctions or connectors, they connect ideas or words. Okay, there are many uses and many other subcategories that we will check tomorrow. Okay, so well, tomorrow we will just have a review of these of the parts of a speech, and then we will move on to our next topic. Okay, so let me send you the homework about the article so you can practice it, and see you the next class. So take care. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Bye.
teacher. Bye.
See you.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I sent it to you already. Goodbye. See you.